Number 1, call to order and recording of members present and absent.
McDermott.
Here.
Parker. Absent. Slater.
Here.
Kane.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Read open meeting compliance statement.
I, the undersigned clerk of the Board of Education of the Alva Independent School District Number 1 of Woods County, Oklahoma, certify that prior to December 15th of the last calendar year, the date, time, and place of this regular meeting was filed in the office of the County Clerk of Woods County, Oklahoma. I also certify that at least 24 hours prior to this meeting, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, notice of the date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting was posted in prominent public view at the location of the meeting. Witnessed my hand this 4th day of December 2017.
Thank you. Consent agenda. All of the following items, which concern reports and items of a routine nature, normally approved by one board vote, unless any board member decides to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and approval of the following items. 3-1, addition of items of new business to the agenda.
We have none.
3-2, minutes of the November 6, 2017 regular board meeting, the November 15th, 2017 special board meeting, and the November 27th, 17 special board meeting attachments. Here we have all 3 minutes.
Do you want to go to 3-3 and vote all of them, or do you want to vote one at a time?
Vote all of them.
We can.
You can. Okay. 3-3. Approval of the Treasurer's report on the status of funds and investments. 3-4. Approval of the activity fund report. 3-5. Approval of the activity account fundraisers, if any. Approval of the child nutrition report. And approval of the activity fund inter-account transfers.
Okay, on the minutes, I didn't see any problems with any of the minutes. Did any of you? Okay. Then we'll go to the Treasurer's report. Got the November comparison. And right now, we've encumbered $709,509.85 more than we did a year ago. Our warrant comparison, we're up $183,106.87. The good deal is that we do have more revenue at this point in time than we did a year ago, $185,237.73. And our gross production for the month was up a little bit from a month ago, so that looks good. So, we're still sitting in a good situation there. And then on the investments, all of those are intact. I do see that we have one coming up, mature, and it's with Community National Bank, $61,200, and that will mature 1/4. And I'm sure that David will take care of that and move that into another account at this point in time. Any questions there? Okay, approve the activity fund report. Again, all of our activities are in good shape. We do have a lot of money right now in the concession fund, over $29,000. That will be divided out a little bit after the football's all taken care of and concessions, and those organizations will get their monies. I know that LaDonna has had 3 extra concessions at the college because of playoffs.
Sure.
And we couldn't find one that worked, so the college baseball team got that, so they got the full amount of the concession at that point in time. So, but we're in good shape there, and everybody's doing well. Sure.
We did not have an internal activity that wanted to.
Nope. We emailed everybody, we asked everybody, and could not get it. And I believe that was for the Thanksgiving weekend with the Saturday night one.
Seems odd.
A lot of people busy that weekend, I would imagine. Okay, the fundraisers that we have, I don't see anything unusual. We've got the class of 21-20 concession and meals to raise money for their account. Then Washington activity account, their color fund run, 5K, will be in May. And then boys basketball, Coach Feely's going to do this rather than a labor auction. So he's going to have a meal, and if they want to donate, they can donate for those different expenses that he has listed there for what he looks at. I will tell the board that I'm looking at a athletic budget from the general fund next year that maybe we can take away from all of these fundraisers that we have, and make sure that the big expense items, the helmets, the uniforms, those types of things are taken care of by the district, and approach you later on with that, and try to cut out some of these fundraisers that we're doing to try to build up these activity accounts. And then the art, some of their pottery and everything, Christmas pottery sale December the 1st. And any questions on any of those fundraisers? Okay. Approval of child nutrition. I'm going to look at the final one to go over some things. Right now, we've received $28,000 more in federal reimbursement for our program than we did a year ago. This past month, we served over 2,500 more meals. Our average lunches, we've averaged 106 more lunches.
Than a year ago?
No, just in that last month. I'll give you a year
Oh,
here
I'm
in a
sorry.
minute.
Okay,
You're
I'm sorry.
And then average breakfast, we're having 52 more average. A la carte at the high school, must be you kids are staying to eat a little bit more, because we sold almost $2,000 more of a la carte food items at the high school. On the year, we've served 33,500 meals more than what we did a year ago at this time, August to here. And we've also told a la carte more than 6,000. So that tells me with the pre-K, we're serving more meals. And with the effort that the administrators and everybody did at pre-enrollment, we've got more signed up for free and reduced lunches. And that our high school kids are being smart and they're spending less money at lunch and staying at the school to eat. Is that right? No, they don't. And at this time, we'd like to welcome Teacher Cadet here for this board meeting. So if you have any questions, you'll have to ask Mrs. Simon later on what we do. But anyway, child nutrition looks really good.
It does.
And, we're feeding a lot of kids because of all-day pre-K and so forth, but we've still got a lot of people on free and reduced. And that's from the effort that we had at pre-enrollment. I really believe that. So, good shape there. Inter-account transfers. We just have one, and that's now child nutrition, and that was for the Veterans Day program at the middle school. So they paid for those patrons that we fed them. So if we don't have any questions, that is the consent agenda.
Entertain a motion?
I would move that we approve 3.1 through 3.7.
Second?
Hanson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Slater,
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Vote to approve purchase order encumbrances for the following funds for fiscal year 18. 4-1 General Fund number 11 as presented there.
Okay, do you want to go through the same way?
4-2 Building Fund number 21 as presented. 4-3 Nutrition Fund number 22 change orders as presented. Number 4-4 Gift Fund number 81 change orders as presented.
Really didn't have a whole lot of expenditures other than the normal on this month. I will go over a couple of those with you. On purchase order 497, CCR, we had some water on the gymnasium and our gym, and so we had to have them come up and look, and we did find some water underneath there, and boards were warping, so we had to tear that up a little bit, that southwest corner. And so we've got it all dried and it looks good and so forth. I don't know if we have a crack underneath the actual floor, and that's all whatever water we've got here in this county at this point in time coming from Apache Drive that's leaking up in there or not. I know when we built that, that was the biggest problem that we had, was compacting that area because of all that water that drains down from Apache and so forth. So we've taken care of that, and I don't think it's going to cost that much, but we encumbered that much. And then 506, we did spray all the yards for pre-emergent and everything so that we can keep the stickers and so forth out. 534, that's some equipment for Lincoln, and that has to do with some focus money because we are a focus school. And the big item that we did buy was a active table.
Active panel.
Active panel, okay. But it is a table, right?
Well, those were out of stock.
Oh,
So we did have to go with a panel, which
Okay.
is basically a huge iPad on the wall. Yeah. Like a smart board, but it's an iPad, so it's touchscreen.
so we got a little money from the state for that, and then the district will pay the rest of it, but something that we have to do with our focus money. So if there are any other questions on any of the encumbrances, most of them are pretty normal. You can see 493 that we have encumbered $70,000 for an OG&E bill for the remainder, hopefully, of this year, may not. And then we have some open POs for the different places for purchases and so forth. But if there's anybody that has a question, I'd be glad to try to answer for you. You know, that's amazing, 522 American Accessibility Equipment. It costs a lot of money to fix those handicapped. And it costs a lot of money for them to come up here to just do that. And so, but those are things that we have to do.
Where do they come from?
Got to come out of Oklahoma City. About the only place that we can even get anybody to work on this area. And we've worked with them for many years now, same company. They're reputable and they do us a good job, but they're so finicky, they just go out and sensors go out and they got to replace them, and things of that nature. That's that. Is it the middle one? That upstairs one?
It's the one from like the library to the 5th grade floor.
Okay.
So the very middle, it's the smallest.
It's the smallest, but
It's our
still.
oldest one.
Okay. Any questions on the general fund then? Okay, building fund. Great Dog Mechanical is an open PO for some heating and air conditioning problems in the future. Gagnon Plumbing and Northwest Electric. That's what it cost us to get everything hooked up for the new greenhouse that we replaced this summer. So we've got electricity and we've got the plumbing there for the water and gas lines to the greenhouse. And our low ag kids will use that quite a bit this spring for their flowers and tomatoes and things of that nature. Okay. And then nothing in the child nutrition or the gift fund for this month, so unless you have any questions on any particular expenses, I don't have any more for you.
Motion?
I move we approve the purchase order encumbrances, those referenced in 4.1 and 4.2.
I would second that motion.
McDermott,
Aye.
Slater,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Shane?
Madison, do you have all of the elementary report combined
Yeah.
tonight?
We're all together, including middle school. I'm just gonna speak
Okay.
for Shane since he's not here. He's gonna pull it up, but I'll just give you a little little start to this. We started an AR, a reading program for Alva Public Schools. We've had a reading program, but we wanted to become more aligned. So throughout the summer, we met and came up with some ideas, and since we've implemented it, we wanted to meet back with teachers and parents to see where we were at. Do you know the name of it? Just type in board meeting.
Accelerated reader
There it
board meeting
is, Accelerated Reader Board Meeting Update.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
You're good, you're good, you're good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, you're glad I'm not back there running it.
I am,
We
yes, I am.
We really are.
Thank goodness. So first we met with our parents, and we had a really great group of parents. We had 10 parents that were able to come, at least 2 from each building. We talked about communication a lot. And as we all know, we can tell our students one thing and expect them to take it home, and it doesn't always get there. We can send a note. We can use the website. So we talked about some ways that we can improve our communication with parents. They talked about some of their likes and dislikes, and a lot of it was more things that they didn't realize were happening because, word had not gotten to them after it got to their students. We talked a lot about motivation, and they really liked getting input from their children on what motivated them, and we found there's a huge range between 1st grade and 8th grade what will motivate students. They really wanted information on how to help find books in their students' interest level. And we talked about providing some guided reading strategies for parents when they're reading with their students at home. And so since then, we've all worked on a document that has some reading strategies that parents can use in there now on our website. And we'll continue adding to those. But go ahead and go to the next slide, please. We met with teachers on the 17th, and once again we talked a lot about motivation and how 1st graders are motivated one way, 8th graders are motivated another way, and there's not a one-size-fits-all. And each side has to figure out what are the ways that we can motivate our students. Our librarians talked about and librarian aides, they came to our meeting as well, that they would really like some more information on how to contribute to students in finding books that are within their lexile range, that are within their interest levels, and helping them find those books, not just, pointing them in the direction, but picking books out for them. And from that meeting, we also were able to get a list of popular books for our different age groups, and hopefully we can expand our libraries with that list and with other suggestions we get from parents and students. We talked about having conferences with our students, like little mini conferences on where they're at in their goal. One of the things that we changed this year was students can bank their points. So in the first 9 weeks, their goal might be 9 points if they're a 4th grader. And let's say they get 12 points, those extra 3 points can carry over to the second 9 weeks. And we need to make sure our students understand that. So we talked about the importance of meeting with them weekly if we can, to talk about where they're at with their goal. And really we just talked about how we want to instill love for reading. And at every meeting, that's what came out of the meeting. For Washington, I'm just going to kind of read this for him. For every 10 points achieved by a class, they take an apple off the tree and they put it in their classroom's basket. And they really like this visual of that level. They also have point clubs, and they move up their clip when they get to that point club. And you put on here, the visuals are great for them. You're fine. And then some of their incentives are just small incentives for meeting their goals throughout the 9 weeks. They're going to take a trip to the menagerie if they have met their goals for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd 9 weeks. And she's going to talk about Longfellow.
Okay, Longfellow, kind of the same. They have various incentives throughout that you can see. They have point clubs. Once they hit a certain number of points, those are the rewards that they get. They all get little certificates that you can see. Everybody gets kind of a small little reward at least. And then they also get recognized at Friday finale. And what they are saving up for is the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd 9 weeks. If they reach their goal, then they will get a bowling party. So this is how Longfellow is doing theirs.
Okay, so for Lincoln, our first 9 weeks, we did a pizza party and they got tickets to the menagerie. And our learning earnings, which is, like our currency at school, that if they have positive behavior, they get a little learning earning, which is $1, and they can buy things on our school store with that. For the second 9 weeks, we are going to have an ice cream sundae party, an extra recess, and more learning earnings. And we are good with the visuals too, so they really like to see their name on this bulletin board. Next slide, please. Weekly, our teachers do try to conference with them at least once a week. And every other week, if they're on track, they get to go to an extra recess. And if you're not quite on track, you can read. We also do point clubs, so every 25 points, they enter into a point club, and they get recognized at our Pride Assembly, and they get learning earnings. For the third 9 weeks, we're going to do a movie and popcorn in the gym with learning earnings. And then in the fourth 9 weeks, if they've gotten their goal all 3 9 weeks, then we're going to go to the Salt Plains. But we need a lot of motivation along the way. It's hard for them to see the light at the end of the tunnel. They've got to have a little help along the way.
And then we get to the middle school. Things get a little bit clouded when they're at the middle school. Honestly, we are struggling to figure out what motivates them. Because, you can't offer middle school kids a pop or a eraser and expect them to read. It just doesn't work. You guys know. Look at this. I'll give you pop and popcorn all day, but you're not going to read a book for that, So we are struggling with that a little bit.
Not this much.
No, not this much. I know, they were great. We are putting together a Google survey to try to figure out some things that might motivate these kids. Another problem that we have is the middle school activity fund, we don't have much money. We don't do any big fundraisers, whereas like Lincoln, they do the math-a-thon, and then Longfellow does the spell-a-thon. Middle school, you need to do a dance-a-thon. There you go. That's not bad. That's not bad, I'm telling you. We need to figure out, we're just struggling to figure this out. But we have talked to Jesse Jones, so if they do receive their AR goal for the first, second, and third 9 weeks, we will take them down the Rialto, watch a movie, popcorn. That's what we've come up with so far. And some of the kids are like, nah. But, sometimes, if you have an 8th grader and you say, hey, if you will get your points, I'll take you to the movies. They're like, I'll go to the movies on my own. I don't care. I don't need that. So that's what makes it difficult. Giving them a pop doesn't always get them going. So we're trying to figure out what it is.
Thank you. You're welcome. Very good.
Do you
guys have any questions on that?
You got something else?
Well, I was going to talk about the middle school also. No, not on this. Just, are you going to give a little report too?
We'd like to. I have eventually my people here.
Okay. I will just go ahead and tell you a little bit more about what's going on at the middle school. For next week, we are doing a taste a book. And this is the 8th graders, and they get together, and they've been spending so much time getting this ready. The goal is to read a book, to figure out a way to relate it to some kind of food, and I have a list of things that I'll explain to you, but then they plan, they implement, they do all kinds of stuff. They are working on, they've just finished their poster boards that they will go down and set up in the library. I believe that there are 18 groups, so there's 18 different books that this is going to focus on. And they go down to the library. This year they're going to have some kind of technology, whether they did a PowerPoint or something that's going to add to their presentation. And they are going to give it to the 6th and 7th graders this year. So next Friday, they're all going to go down to the gym. They're all going to walk around. They're going to spend about 15 minutes at each station, and they will hear about this book. They will get to eat some food, and they will, and see they'll learn about different books that might entice them. For instance, one group is doing Old Yeller, and they're serving cornbread. Let's see.
Did Old Yeller like cornbread?
He does now, Mr. Parker. He does now.
Mr. Slater's group is doing Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and they're serving Cheez-Its. I mean, there's like Divergent, there's a group doing Divergent, and they're serving chocolate brownies.
Oh, that's where I'm.
Yeah, see, there you go. Beef jerky, World War II, the right flight.
That's cute.
But, I mean, they've really put a lot of effort into this, and they've really thought about it, and they've been working really hard, so.
So what is the date? You said Friday. I know, I'm sorry. Somebody with the calendar. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
8th,
No, 16th, no, 15th.
15th.
15th, yes.
And timeline,
Yeah.
please? I mean, when can I come?
You can come anytime throughout the day. They're doing it all through
They
the
start at
day.
8 or not? I mean,
They're gonna start about 8:30.
8:30
Mhm.
until
They've gotta get everything.
2:30?
Yeah, yep. And they're going to just walk around and spend about 15 minutes
will
at
they,
each.
yeah, I'm sorry to ask, will they all be in the gym?
They'll all be in the gym.
Last time
yes.
they were at different places, but
Well, they're gonna try to stay in that.
that's a lot of kids, okay.
Yeah, but, you know, last year they brought in the elementary students
Oh, uh-huh.
and had them come tour it. This year for this one, we're just doing the middle school right now. So I don't know if that's in the future to bring in elementary, but
Okay.
that's what we're doing right now.
I guess I'm invited, I was invited
Well, of
myself.
course,
Okay,
come
I
on
just acted
in.
like I will be there, so.
You need some chicken nuggets
Well,
or
you
some
know,
little
they take a
smokies
lot,
or-
last time I saw it, they take a lot of pride in their presentation.
They do.
And it's fabulous for them to be able to have to stand in front of people and do what you all have done, and we do every day, but congratulations. Thank you for the invitation.
Butter.
Anybody is invited if you'd like to come to
And come with these
I'm
guys.
proud to have a group of my students here this evening for this board meeting. These are our teacher cadet students, and one of their class requirements is to come in and witness a board meeting. And I was going to stand up and tell you about our teacher cadets and what they do and those things. And I thought, rather than me stand up and tell you about them, I'll have Mrs. Simon come and let them come and fulfill their requirement this night also. But then she can tell you the other things that they do to do that. So, Mrs. Simon.
I'll have each one of the kids introduce themselves just in case there are any you aren't familiar with, so give them your first and last names.
My name is Callie Duncan.
I'm Maya Stewart.
I'm Leah Meyer.
Elena Hurst.
Braden Cook. I'm Jalen Gribble.
Anna Caldwell.
Good.
Come on in, Coach Pete.
Our teacher cadet class, I work with the best of the best. They get put through the ringer. I run them through every single trial that I feel like a real teacher would have to go through. They make phone calls home to, I'm the parent on the other end, but they make a phone call home to an angry parent. They make a phone call home to praise a student. They make a phone call home to talk about a discipline issue. They have to go through all those things. We have mock parent-teacher conferences. We have tons of job interviews. They sit through all types of different job interviews with all different audiences because I don't want them to just get comfortable with me. I change it up who they're interviewing with, and they're expected to be professional, and it's a full-blown interview as though they were interviewing for a real job. We go in job shadow once a week. That'll stop eventually, but for right now we're going once a week. A lot of them have found a class that they really love, and then I mix it up and make them go to some other class because they need to see different styles and different teachers and different ages. Some of them like the teacher they were with and go back. Some of them think, hey, maybe I like this grade better or this teaching style, and they get a little bit of everything by doing that. We teach lessons in the classroom, and so I give each student a scenario of what type of student they will be for the teacher that's teaching. So some of them might be on an IEP, some of them might be the talkative child, some of them might be the kid who wants to sleep all hour, and the teacher does not know what scenarios the classmates have, and they have to handle those discipline problems or those scenarios as they come up in the class, and that's always really exciting. They do a great job with that. We do just a little bit of everything. Every scenario that I would have to go through, I put them through. I want them to really know if this is something that they're interested in doing or if it's not, and we have a lot of fun, but they really are challenged and they do work hard, and I've seen so much growth from the beginning of this year. Just even, we're almost at Christmas, and leaps and bounds, a lot of them have really grown that much, even in just their job interviews, the way they present themselves, the way they carry themselves, their confidence, the simple things, but they've grown a whole lot in this class. Do you have any questions for me?
Are they chosen to be in this class, or do they?
Juniors and seniors can sign up for the class, and then as long as we feel like it's a good fit and they are kids that will
Sincerely have an interest in
Yes.
this teacher.
Yes, and every once in a while we have some that say, I'm not sure if I want to be a teacher, and I say,
Yes,
beautiful,
definitely.
come and do this,
You bet.
and then they can decide, and some say, yes, absolutely, this is what I want to do, and some say, there's no way. They go and observe in the classrooms on those Thursdays and come back to me and say, I can't do this, and I say, well, go try a different grade, maybe that'll make all the difference. And some of them, by the time they're finished, decide it's not what they want to do, and that's just as helpful to take the class for that reason, to not go to college thinking that's what you want to do and use all that time and figure out that shouldn't have been your focus. So we do everything that I would do. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What's the best part of the class? And there's not a right or wrong answer, because I'm not in the, and don't say Mrs. Simon.
Don't say.
Don't say the teacher. What's the
Tell what you have fun doing. What's your
part that
favorite?
you guys like to do?
I think my favorite part is the job shadowing. I job shadow Mrs. Phillips' 8th grade class every Thursday, so I've gotten to help with the taste of book stuff and kind of seen everything they've done, and it's so much fun.
Good.
And just real quick on her, she wasn't sure she wants to be a teacher or a hospital administrator, so I also set up a day for her to go shadow out at the hospital and the administrator, because why not use that time to really see what her focus is. So I try to, let them branch out if that's what they want to do, and we can do that, and we were able to with Elena. Go ahead.
Great. Anybody else?
I don't know. I like basically all of it. I've always wanted to be a teacher, so seeing actually like the raw stuff really helps a lot, and it just makes me want to be a teacher more. So.
I have to say job shadowing too. I really enjoy it. I'm in Mr. Hamilton's 5th grade, and I just taught a lesson in there last week.
Wow.
It was great. I love them. I'm really getting to see a lot of like the good and bad, so it's a good experience. I like it.
We've had mock IEPs. We sit down with an IEP that has the names blanked out, and we conduct, an entire IEP, and somebody's a parent, somebody's a teacher. We literally do every single scenario that you can think of.
So I asked the good side, what's the worst part of class?
Good, because I know what the answer will be. What's the worst part of the class, Anna?
Interview.
Job interviews.
Job interviews, yeah, exactly. Why?
It's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking. It sure is.
But how much have you improved?
A lot.
Night and day.
You can't get better till you do that. So, anybody else that's your least favorite? I shouldn't say worst. Your least favorite.
I think having to do the parent-teacher conference, because Miss Simon had freaked out on me. That was
She
probably
did
the worst
it.
part. That was the toughest moment.
I'd say the IEP meeting was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
Just because it was a very touchy subject with, you have different types of parents in this area, so it's really.
I think my favorite part was being a student while they taught and got to be a little.
So role playing's a good thing too. There are certain roles they assign me usually too. So that's fabulous. Thank you.
On the opposite of that, though, I've enjoyed like the teaching part of it, and I was one that's not. I was a borderline kind of person, so I've kind of enjoyed teaching them about different things that I've been passionate about, being able to implement that into my students. But but yeah, so that's been fun for me though, being able to teach something.
Well, what a great opportunity, because so often, you're right, we spend a lot of time getting really close to being finished, and we are very glamorized, and then we realize what the work really is, and we go, ooh. And if you remember correctly, I've been telling you, we have to do this with 43 to 47. Remember that lecture I gave you guys? We do this with 43 to 47 years of our life, so pick a job you love, so every day you get up and go, I'm so lucky.
45.
45, man, I was close. 43, 47. Well, congratulations. We're proud of you.
Well, we appreciate you guys letting us down.
We're proud of y'all's work as well.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, we have great guest speakers come as well. We've had Mrs. Martini so far, so others as well, but in the school district. So we've had great people.
What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Thank you.
Thank you, principals, and thank you for being here. Superintendent's report.
Okay, resignations, retirement. We've got just one at this point in time. Sally Schmidt's going to retire at the end of this school year. Title I teacher. I'm not sure how many years she has total, because I think she has like 18 years in Missouri. So she's probably got pretty close to 36 years total on that. So we'll be looking for a Title I teacher for Washington for next year. I don't have any reassignments or anything at this point in time. Communications. You did get a letter from Mr. Beatles. I didn't know if you got one in the mail, but he complimented the middle school and the middle school students and everybody for their Veterans Day. So if you have a chance, you can read it. I think you have that as an attachment. But they did a great job down there. I was there, so it's always a good time. Also want to congratulate Coach Sweatfigger, all of our coaches and kids on an outstanding season, but also our community. Boy, did we have support Saturday night over in Eden. We had a lot of people. So I appreciate the community for the support that we've had all year long in our football program. Found a few problems in our plumbing down at the middle school. When they put water pipes in, the cold water, the hot water, some of them are just laying on top of metal structures, whether it's a support beam or whatever. And we get about 2 inches of play every time we flush a toilet or something like that. So over the years, they're wearing the pipe, the copper out. So we found one over the weekend that we had leaks. So we're going to be looking at that and see what we need to be doing there. But we think throughout the whole school building. So that may be a big summer project that we need to. And the same thing at Lincoln. We've had problems from that second floor, water leaking down to the basement. We've tried several different things. We now know that we've got corroded water pipes and everything, and we're going to have to replace some water lines and so forth along there. And Fair Plumbing is going to do that. So those are the things that has happened since then. And then, I don't know, I know Mr. Martin said, but we have had 2 filed for the board at this point in time. Shane and Mrs. Slater haven't had any more. They still have till Wednesday at 5 o'clock to file for that position. And really, that's all the things that I have at this point in time. Still don't know what the legislature's going to do. There's a lot of things up in the air, especially about administration and doing some of those things. Yeah, they want to cut down on administrative costs, and then they want to look at administrator taking over 2 or 3 communities and so forth. So we'll see. But that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Okay.
Do you need a motion to accept that resignation?
No. You all have given me the right to accept those recognitions. The time that we did it with the special board meeting is because it was my retirement letter.
Gotcha. 7 items of current business. 7.1, discussion and possible board action vote to elect the following as new members of the Board of Directors of the Oklahoma Public School Investment Interlocal Cooperative.
We are a member of this, and this comes up each and every year, and the same question is, who are these people? These are people that are representing us, and they are willing to serve on this committee, and I'd recommend to the board that they be approved.
Motion?
We're going to do them as a block.
Yep.
I would make the motion that we positively vote for David Powell, Matt Gendhart, Terry Davidson, Lynn Cosper.
Second.
That 4, I'm sorry, I did them all. Thank you.
Hanson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
7.2, discussion and with possible board action vote to approve an offer of employment to the following non-certified position for fiscal year 18.
Joanne Eisenbar's going to retire December the 20th, and we have reassigned LaDonna Durkee to take her place. And so I believe Mrs. Martini and myself would like to recommend Stephanie Nichols as the middle school secretary at this time to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
McDermott.
Aye. 7.3, discussion with possible board action vote to approve Brooke Meyer as an adjunct instructor for anatomy and physiology for the 2017-18 school year.
This is an accreditation situation that the board has already voted on her in the fall, but because we had her listed as 1 hour, that we need to go and just do it for the full year. As an adjunct teacher, you can teach up to 3 hours. So Ms. Meyer's teaching 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon. So to make everything correct for their accreditation, we need to rehire her as an adjunct, and then they can work her 3 hours, 2 hours, or whatever they deem. So I would make that recommendation to the board also at this time.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson.
Yes.
7.4, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve contract with the OSSBA to assist in the search for a superintendent for the 2018-19 school year.
Did you give Lynn some?
No, I did not.
Here, I'll give you my
I
copy.
didn't make it there.
Do I need one?
As you all know, we've surveyed each one of you, and I put it together here as to what characteristics of a superintendent we're looking for, as well as what we consider to be the pros and cons for using OSSBA. So many of you have had the opportunity to look at these. The pros are, you want me to read the pros and read the cons, or you just want to
That's up to you
look
all.
at? We're open for discussion. We need a motion before we discuss.
No.
Okay. If we were to use them, they wanted us to have what our characteristics or what our job description would be of a superintendent. So that's why I had to do those first. We're really not voting on those as much as we are whether to hire them to help us with the search.
For point of clarification, have they ever been used before in any of the searches that previous boards have you have done?
Here in Alva?
Yes, that you're aware of?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Is it a relatively new search?
Jane, I can't answer that for sure. I know it's been in existence at least 5 years. I think the biggest situation that they try to do is market for the schools, the opening and everything, because they're just going to collect all of your applicants and everything. They could come out, and visit with the patrons to see what they thought were the characteristics. And then they're not going to go through any of the applicants whatsoever. They're going to give you all full access to all those. And when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, the board has to come back and hire the superintendent. You all have to make the choice. They're not going to do that for you. They're not going to influence you in any way whatsoever. They're going to collect the information, get it out there to where it's advertised, possibly do some marketing and so forth.
Is it already listed as a job opening?
We listed it internally, the first 5, and then we also had it on there for a couple of days, and we took it off before the vote. Because if you all vote to hire them, then they have to resend those applications to them because they will take those applications. And Stephanie, I believe the word she used at our meeting, she would act as the Alva Board of Education's concierge. Okay?
They would all be on, we could view them online though.
You could view them online because they would put them online. You all would have access to them.
That was all at once. There was no, they don't narrow it down.
They do not narrow it down whatsoever. They put every application on there so that you still have to go through there and look at those applications. And when it's time to interview for the superintendent, she would come to the morning board meeting, I think, and act as concierge and introduce and so forth if you wanted her to. That's not the mandatory thing, but I think that's in one of those $500 contracts that you could do or something also.
It was an add-on.
It was an add-on. The basic price, just to advertise, to market, and to make, I think, 1 or 2 trips here to talk to administrators, teachers, and so forth, is $6,000. And then there are add-ons to that.
Where, if we don't go with them, where would you advertise that position?
We would advertise with the Oklahoma School Board Association. We would advertise with COSA. We would advertise at every State College, plus OU, OSU. Probably the only place that we might not get an advertisement would be on a national board of some kind. But throughout the state of Oklahoma, it would be put out there.
Is that where you would say that if you are seeking a job as a superintendent, that you would go to those sites to know what was available?
Even if I'm out of state, I'm gonna probably go to the state agency to look if I'm wanting to move to Oklahoma and look and see if there are any. So if there are interested people outside the state of Oklahoma, they have that ability to go to that state site to look at that.
They would create a web page. Say if I were interested, I could go onto that web page and learn about the job, learn about the community, possibly learn about Alba school system.
I believe that's correct.
That's correct. So
that's another advantage probably. You know, we have our own web page and there's a lot of information out there that if they're interested, they can get on our web page and look and see what we've got and what we've accomplished. I think Pam does a great job there, and I think our local administrator do a good job of putting things on there as current as we possibly can on those types of, on the web page. So anybody that can get on a computer and knows what they're doing more than I do can probably get there and look at all those things.
What is our standard background review or background check process, and how would OSSBA's service be different from that?
Well, that's a great question because for additional money, they can do a background check. And I'm not sure who they do that with, if they do that with the OSBI.
Didn't she mention the company?
Yeah, she did. There's one company, and I don't know if that company does it with the OSBI or who they do it with.
They do some social media checks and different things, what we can do ourselves.
Right.
Who would you utilize for a background check if you wanted to do one here?
On a background check, without going through the OSBI, we just call. And we'll call people that we know, we'll call references there, and talk to all the friends that we have in the administration to see. You know, anytime at the high school when I was looking for teachers and they were teaching at a school, the first person I'd call would be the high school secretary to see if that particular teacher turned in their lesson plans, turned in their grades, turned in their POs and those types of things in a timely manner. And then I would try to call somebody that was not a reference that I knew that would know them from working at a school or whatever. But that's the only way that we really have, unless we hire some outside agency to do that part of it, and I'd have to check on that.
And I wonder what that cost would be. I mean, again,
you know, an OSBI background check is $50.
$50.
Okay? So if you got a private firm that do that, I would imagine you $100, to be real honest with you.
well, they gotta make some money on top.
They've got to make some money on top of that, so I would think $100.
But they take our lead in which one, say we got to the top 5.
Right, that's who they'd look at.
That's who they would do
Not all
those checks
50
on. They would
applicants.
not do them on all of them, just our top candidates.
That's correct. Way I understood her
That's what I understood,
presentation.
so too.
The standard background check,
Right,
Mhm.
not
not that high dollar one.
Right.
And if we wanted to do the high dollar one, it was extra.
You know, and most people can get on Facebook to check out a person's Facebook also. To check that. And you can find out a lot of things on Facebook on how that person is. Once you put it on Facebook, you can't take it off, kids.
I
get the nod.
They got the nod, they always.
Deleted the August favor somewhere.
Well, I apologize for missing the meeting on last Monday. I had a previous commitment with the school accreditation, but I have had a couple of community people contact me, for and against. And they're very, we're so fortunate that we have people that look out for the best interest of our school and our kids. They don't want us to spend money if it's something that we can do and it's just not needed. In the same respect, someone said they were glad that was a possibility we were looking at, is inviting someone else to take an active role, so that fresh eyes were gathering the information. So it's interesting. I'm thrilled that I had some folks contact me and share that with me, but right now I'm in a real toss-up. I'm just listening and hearing what the pros and cons are, because I feel very responsible to the taxpayers for the funds that we have, and how we take care of our buildings and our schools. And if it's something that we could have done without spending $6,000, then let's not. But if it's something that they're going to bring to the table, something that's just wowzers, and I think, well, how could we have done with this without them? I think it's a positive investment. So I'm just absorbing all of this right now. I'm trying to, because I thought about it a lot. I thought about it all last week when I should have been thinking about accreditation stuff, probably. But I know it's a big decision for our community, and we all take it very seriously.
I think one of the pluses for this is confidentiality. I think they can keep a lot of that from all of the talking over who's applied, when, and all that kind of good stuff.
Good point.
I think we can achieve that also. And I will offer to the board to be the concierge for the board, just like Stephanie, and keep that as under touch as much as possible, and so forth, and give you all that information without going up. The tough part of it is that if they do apply online and everything, it comes into the office. So that's the tough part. So this office, if that is a problem, or if that is a concern of the board, we would have to keep everything very quiet until it was time to do the things that you all need to do.
With the upcoming bond issue and the work that's going to be involved on your shoulders for that, as well as this, you think that, as well as your regular duties, do you feel like that's quite a load?
Well, I'll know more after Thursday, because I am going to meet with the architects and look at some things that we're going to propose to the board and look at it. But it's just a normal day.
It's just normal.
Well, yeah, I understand, but it's within a work day, but it's y'all's decision, And I understand there's concerns on both parts, and they're valid.
They are, very much so.
They are valid.
If the concerns are mostly the expense, is this going to be something that will strap our district? Will it be a financial decision that isn't frugal, or?
Not at this point in time.
Most of our cons are the cost.
I don't think we're going to cheat any student in the Alva Public School District, anything, at this point in time, if we decide to go with that. Okay? And the basic price would be $6,000, and then the board could add to that later on if you needed that extra search or so forth, and that background, those types of things. So that could be an add. So, but no, the expense is not something that's going to cheat anybody.
Is there a way we could accomplish the online survey, the survey that we need to survey the community, or is that important to us? Is that something we can do ourselves? Or is that a part of it that we will implement, is the community input and survey? or the community, or even down to the teachers and administrators.
Now, I'm gonna have to have help making the survey, but I've got administrators that know how to do that.
Well, I mean, is that
Now, I've
something?
got people on staff that know how to do that. And we could come up with our own general questions for having questions for a survey for patrons in the community, for our teachers, and we could also even have it for the students.
Absolutely. I just wonder who's going to compile those and who's going to do all that work that they would do for us on that leg of it.
Well, I'm gonna ask these experts over there, but if we do the survey and everything, it will compile itself and you will get a breakdown on a graph and everything. I do know,
We do have that capability.
we do have that capability. The monkey survey is pretty easy.
It is. I could even use it.
Well, you may have to teach me.
Okay, I can, Mr. Parker.
We can work on it
We
together.
can do it together.
But yeah, we could do all of those things. We just need, you know, if that's the way you all choose to go, then we just need direction from the board on what you want us to do, and we can work on that.
And that is an add-on,
Mhm.
the OSSBA.
It would be an add-on. thing.
Mostly her charge to come that day and her mileage and all that, isn't it?
Yes,
Just $500.
yes.
Those forums and things were included in
Right.
that same
Right.
payload.
And then she would take it back and compile it and present it to us or send it to us. As it's kind of third party.
I like that she would do, I like that component of it, and her compiling that, and her experience in doing that as an objective viewer and going to those meetings without any sort of agenda in any capacity, just to compile data. I like that component of it.
It is, I mean, I'm like you, Karen, I've received several calls on it, and I'm torn too about yes or no, and there's a lot of people in the community the same way about the cost. Yet they are glad to see some independence.
Right.
But they don't want to spend the money.
Yeah. Well, we're very frugal. I mean, that's our community's always been very frugal, and I'm very evident. It's paid dividends for us. We've been very blessed in that area. But this is important. This is, the school is the heartbeat of a community, and everything we do is. We've seen communities that have fallen apart because their schools have consolidated and they've lost them and they haven't taken good care of them. So it is. But it's a situation that. I don't want to spend the money and come back, in 6 months and go, we could have done this. If that's all they had to offer, we've all been so, and I hate to say, because I was here for the meeting, I apologize again, a bill of goods. But I don't want to do due diligence and then not be responsible to our patrons and our kids.
And you as the board have a right to create a search committee. And they could be that committee that drives it, gathers that information.
Now that has been done in the past.
Yes, it has.
I remember that. I wouldn't say a good 15 or 20 years ago, but that was that community input, and that's actually who was a big part of the interview.
And, those are the options. But when it comes down to it, no matter how it happens, with all the applicants, it has to come down to maybe 4 or 5. You all are going to have to interview them. You're going to have to probably bring them back, and then you all will have to make a choice.
Sure.
So,
This is more or less helping narrow it down to those 4 or 5.
well, not necessarily, because honestly, the Oklahoma School Board, and that's the one thing that I would probably say against them, is that they're not going to go through any of your applications.
They're helping us generate.
They're going to help you generate, but they're not going through them. They're not going to take any away. They're not going to match for the best, whatever. They're going to show you all of the applicants. If you had a search committee, they could go through all the applicants and break that down to about a 10. and take it to the board. OSSBA will not.
They do classify them though, with those that are not qualified, don't have the, she said something about, didn't have the, maybe didn't even have a superintendent.
Well, if they don't have superintendent and those types of things,
They
yes.
they do narrow some of that down, they do not, anybody that's qualified.
But anybody that's qualified with
is in our board.
superintendent certificate in the state of Oklahoma and everything, you're going to see.
Yep, absolutely. Either way.
Well, I know word's out there because when the,
True.
I was in Tulsa last week, 2 people came up and said, hey, I hear that Alva's looking for a superintendent. And I said, I've heard that too.
Yeah, it didn't take long for anything to get out, you know that.
Can't tell you where they were from, but that was a comment.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I was looking for a superintendent,
So
so.
we're ready to talk about it, vote about it, or any more discussion?
If there's not a motion to approve the OSSBA, it can die for lack of motion, or it can be a negative motion. But I think Robert Rules of Orders didn't like negative motion.
Vote to approve, we're just voting to approve, we're not voting to not approve. So it'll die for a lack of a motion.
Or you could have a motion that would die for lack of a second.
Or it could be a negative vote.
It can be.
Yes, it could be a negative vote, yes.
No motion? Okay, it's gonna die,
Okay?
right there.
Lack of a motion,
Okay.
okay?
Alrighty. 7.5, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the professional development stipend for all certified and non-certified employees as of December 4th, 2017, that earned at least 15 professional development points by October 31st, 2017.
The board has been given a stipend for the last 3 years, I believe, with these conditions that they meet the 15 points at a certain day and so forth. And we've been fortunate that we've had the money to be able to do it as a one-time stipend. And we've been talking a couple of months now that you all feel like that we have accomplished that. So if you approve that, we also need to approve the amount of the stipend within the same motion. And all of our employees have certified that they have the 15 points, and Myra has that information. Not everybody's going to get this, just those people that qualify for it.
What is the amount of the stipend?
But that's up to you.
15, was it 15, is that right?
I believe that's what you all talked about before your time.
Yeah.
How many people have gotten those 15 points?
We have approximately 170 employees, probably 150 that meet these requirements. Most of ours have, maybe even more than that.
I bet.
But we hired some,
Right,
all that.
That would fall within that,
At the beginning of the year, anybody was coming back from a contract, the board voted on a $1,000 stipend as a loyalty. Not everybody got that. Not everybody's going to get this. I can't give you the.
Yeah, and ballpark is all.
Yeah. We're at probably 95% of our employees.
Didn't 100% get it last year?
No,
No?
don't think so. Okay, because we had some new hires.
Okay.
Okay, and we've had a couple of teachers that haven't gone to the professional development due to illness and those types of things that won't get them also this year.
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve a professional development stipend for all certified and non-certified employees as of December 4th, 2017, that earned at least 15 professional development points by October 31, 2017, in the amount of $1,500.
I would second that.
McDermott.
Aye.
Parker.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Proposed executive session for the purpose of discussing the employment of a superintendent. Do we need an executive session?
Well, I don't, we didn't know for sure how much was going to be discussed, and we were going to talk about the traits and everything of a superintendent, and you've already done that, so honestly, that's up to you. It could dial like a motion off. Okay?
Vote to convene or not to convene. Alrighty. Number 12, new business.
Have none?
Signing of the documents approved by earlier action. Need a motion to adjourn.
I would make the motion to adjourn.
I was second.
Way to go, Mr.